Alright everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be looking at Chris Redfield in Resident Evil Reverse. This is going to be a guide on how to play him, what his abilities do, how he's best suited in a playstyle that you may want to use, and in general just going over how good of a character I think he is. Chris is his abilities are very kind of like, they very sync up very well, like, they're very, what's the word? They work in tandem very well, is what I'm trying to say. Like, they bounce off of each other, and can be used to really kind of, really win a gunfight. He is very strong, probably one of the stronger characters in the game in terms of like actual like straight up gunplay. So he's definitely one to watch out for. More of a medium to long range character for the most part in terms of his weapons, but still a very good character. Keep in mind, again, hero shooter, every character is different, so be sure you know which one you want to play before you start playing one. So before we get started, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Reverse content. I will be covering the game as best I can every single day until launch, and then when launch happens, lots more. So just stick around for that. I also obviously stream on weekends. I do all kinds of things at weekends. Dead by Daylight, Resident Evil single player games, and a few other things I have in mind. But obviously don't just cover Reverse on this channel. It's all kinds of Resident Evil stuff. So if you're interested in any of that, do subscribe to notifications so you don't miss a video or a stream. And without any further ado, let's get into how to play Christopher. Okay, so his passive is Pride of the Original 11. This is a very, very, very good passive that you do need to kind of like keep in mind when you're playing him. Essentially, what it reads is you deal more damage to bioweapons the lower your HP is. Now, obviously, Chris is part of a new version of Umbrella that is out there to fix the issues that the old Umbrella did, make happen. Essentially, it's the BSAA, but it's Umbrella. This is obviously the Resident Evil 7 Chris, so we're going off of that story rather than the Village Chris. So yeah, it makes sense that obviously he does more damage to bioweapons, and his damage increases the closer to death he is, which works very well with his first ability, which we'll get to soon. But yeah, keep this in mind. I'm sure with the lower tier bioweapons he'll be able to pretty much mount them down quite easily, and then he can actually probably go toe to toe quite well with like a Nemesis or a Jack or something like that. So keep that in mind, and obviously here's a case of you lower the HP is, the more damage you do, which again works very well with his first ability, which we're going to talk about right now, which is Indomitable Spirit. This is a very, very strong first ability, and what it does is, for a brief amount of time, any damage that would kill you will not kill you. Like you're basically invulnerable for a certain amount of time if the damage is enough to kill you. So all you want to do, again, this is a ability that works very well with his passive, is if you're fighting a bioweapon like Nemesis, Tyrant, Jack, one of those, and you are close to death, so you're doing the maximum amount of damage you can. If another hit more or less would kill you, pop the ability and that hit will not kill you, obviously. Now obviously the important thing is to not get hit, so dodging is key, but if you do happen to get hit, you're not going to die. Like, it will not kill you. I don't recall how long it lasts, but it's still a very, very good way of surviving these higher end bioweapons, and he can be very strong at taking them out. Obviously that will keep you at a low HP state, which will keep your damage on bioweapons at maximum, so keep that in mind when you're going against a higher end bioweapon toe to toe as Chris. Chris's second ability is the Power Gauntlet. This is a weapon you've seen in the End of Zoe DLC, if you've played that for Resident Evil 7. It's essentially like a glove you wear that is super powerful, it's like a really strong punch. Obviously the End of Zoe DLC is based around melee combat, because obviously Joe Baker only uses his fist, and you get this right at the end, and it's very, very strong and very, very fun to use. In this game, essentially what it does is it's a lunge forward attack. It does a big amount of damage to enemies, and it only knocks down human targets, so obviously non-mutated enemies will get knocked down by it. I'm imagining bioweapons just take a big amount of damage from it, but yeah, still a very fun ability to use. We all know Chris likes punching things, as we've seen in many different games. But yeah, this is a very cool ability, and it's nice to see that Exo glove come back outside of the DLC for 7, because it was actually a really fun implement to the game. I quite enjoyed that DLC quite a lot, and it's good to see the glove come back, and it's good to think that they kind of remember these things that characters used or that have been in past games, and I'll kind of bring them all back together here. Moving on to Chris's weapons, the first weapon, his standard weapon, is the Samurai Edge Pistol. This is a well-known weapon from most Resident Evil games. Stars members use them, so Jill has one, Chris has one, and I believe it's in the 2 remake as DLC, and it's also possibly in 7, it's the Albert model weapon, which is essentially what that is. It's a samurai edge, but nothing much to say about it. It's a pistol. It's not as strong as Claire's pistol, but you know, iconic weapon, I guess. I'm sure it's powerful because obviously these standard weapons people get have unlimited ammo in them, so it's not something you need to worry about reloading with. But his second weapon is a CQBR, which is a close quarters barrel rifle. It's a assault rifle basically, and this is a mid to long range weapon. Does decent damage. Obviously you want to aim for heads with any gun in the game, and this thing has quite a lot of headshot damage, so you want to be making sure you have that thing filled up as much as possible. Chris doesn't have reload buffs or anything like that, so keep in mind you are default reload buffs along with Claire. But you know, it's a longer range weapon, so you can kind of engage people further away than Claire, which is obviously something you want to do. And I believe Chris is more built around, you know, taking on the bioweapons than anything else. So I'm not saying don't focus players, because you need to, but when bioweapons do spawn, then you'll have probably less of an issue taking them out than you would with anyone else. Now, in terms to playing Chris in a playstyle certain way, again, it's really more of an aggressive player choice. What you want to do, obviously, with him is kind of focus players as often as possible, you know, because they're easier targets to take out. And then when you're closer to death, not completely, you know, one-shotable, but when you're like half HP to 75%, or 25% I should say, you want to kind of like focus on the bioweapons. If there's a small amount of bioweapons around, for example the molded or the rabbit things, go for them, because you know you can more guarantee a secure kill on those without getting yourself killed more likely. If you feel more up to it, obviously pop the ability, keeps you alive if you need to, and then try and take out the higher tier bioweapons. I believe killing those give you more points anyway, so it's really something to kind of, it's decision making really, you know, you kind of want to feel if it's worth it, if you feel like you can take it on. Obviously again, with Chris's abilities, you can kind of, I don't really encourage third parties anyway, in any game, but you see a player taking out bioweapons getting absolutely destroyed, you can kind of like, but you know they're doing damage, so you can kind of turn up if you're on low HP, pop the ability so you can't really die, and then just kill it for them, gets you the kill, and potentially a second kill, because they may be weak from firing the weapon. Anyway, again, something to keep in mind with Chris is there is the power weapons lying around the map. There's certain grenade launchers and stuff like that. They are not character based, they are just sitting around on the map, and anyone can pick them up. And again, using those, having those for when your HP is low and the harder bioweapons are spawned in, is probably very beneficial for you, just to guarantee some big damage or even some easy kills on some of the weaker bioweapons. But yeah, definitely want to be focusing weapons for him rather than players, especially if you kind of know how to combo his abilities very well. But yeah, he's a very aggressive character compared to Claire, which I quite like about it. Yeah, as I mentioned in the last one about Claire, I do prefer aggressive player style, and I do feel like Chris is one of those characters in the game. There is more, but he's one of the main ones where you are kind of not forced to, but you're better off getting into these bigger fights and taking on like harder enemies for more of like a risk reward type thing. If you can play off the ability as well and position yourself well, you can get some damn good kills very easily. And that is something I really enjoy doing in the game like this, just to kind of like get a better lead, you know. And his kit is fun. It is weird that it's the Resident Evil 7 Chris after Village just came out, but that's something I briefly touched on in the previous video about, you know, like post-launch content. They could obviously do skins for these characters, and you could get like a original Chris or a Village Chris or something like that. Obviously, so, you know, same kind of abilities and stuff like that, but have them visually look like a different version of themselves, which would be super cool to see. I'm sure they'll probably go about doing that. I would imagine that is something they do think about doing. You know, there's so many skins you could do with so many characters in the game that are very different, so that's something to look forward to. But yeah, that's essentially your kind of basic guide on how to play Chris, what his abilities do, what his weapons do, and how best to use them. He's a very, very strong contender for one of the best characters in the game. Having looked at and seen some gameplay of other ones now, thanks to some of you guys for sending me the gameplay, there is a lot more contenders for the best characters in the game. Some of them are more skill dependent on others in terms of their abilities and weapons, but some, like Chris, he's not too difficult to play. He has an assault rifle, so it's not really like a technical issue. But you know, his kit is kind of like it's very good at taking out stronger enemies for sure. So I can't wait to see just what people can do with him. But yeah, that's your rundown of Chris. Tomorrow will be, I don't know, maybe Leon next, and then we'll just go from there, because Leon's the kind of one I'm more interested in out of everyone. So we'll start with that. But yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about Chris's kit and how he plays. and I'll see you all again tomorrow for another kind of Reverse video, and maybe something else. Maybe we'll see. See you later.